One of the biggest mistakes I made in real estate investing for years was the mistake of believing I was in real estate investing just because I was educating myself about real estate investing, just because I was driving for dollars, just because I was looking at deals and underwriting deals, and more importantly, just because I was legitimately a real estate consultant. My wife and I, that's how we started our business over 20 years ago. But it was a mistake as a real estate investor. My wife was a real estate agent. I was a handyman. I know my way around the house. My dad was a master carpenter, so I know all the ins and outs of houses. And we used those two assets that we had, my skill set as a handyman, my wife as a real estate professional, and we brought them together to provide real estate consulting to buyers, homestead buyers, to sellers, homestead sellers, to landlords who had tenant problems, to individuals who wanted to become landlords, to investors who had small portfolios that they wanted to be managed, primarily residential portfolios. So we quickly got ourselves into a position where our services as business consultants mattered to a lot of people. However, if you look at real estate investing, let's say as a table, and you have the buyer of real estate on one end, that would be the investor, and you have the seller of real estate on the other end, that would either be an investor or a homestead owner who's selling their property. These are the two main people involved, right, in that real estate investment transaction. Everybody else may play a very important role, but they're not the real estate investors. The attorney at the closing table, the bank that's represented, or the hard money lender or private money lender, the real estate agents, they're not the real estate investors. And I'm telling you, it was a really big mistake that I made. Do I regret it? No, life is what it is, and I just keep it moving. I've made up for the times that I just thought I was a real estate investor. However, it was still a legitimate mistake that I don't want you to make. Because I hear a lot of people today say, oh yeah, I'm in real estate. You go to networking events or meetings and you chop it up with people and you ask them, so what do you do? Oh, I'm a real estate investor. But you ain't buying no real estate. You ain't selling no real estate. Well, you can't sell real estate if you don't buy real estate. All that other stuff, it is a part of the process that you may have to go through to get your money up so that you can purchase real estate, or to get your knowledge up, or to get your confidence up and your courage up and get your experience up. But at some point, you need to be on one of those sides of the table. And the truth is, you won't be on the seller side of the table if you're not on the buyer side of the table, unless you're very good at wholesaling. But at some point, you want to be the buyer. You want to own assets. We always talking about deeds, LLCs that we want to own. Well, guess what? You got to be on that side of the table. And the people who are buying, in most cases, are the real estate investors. Wholesalers, they're typically not buying real estate. They're just controlling contracts. And even if they're doing double closings, they're really not buying it other than just for the protocol of that deal, A to B, B to C deal. But we're talking about real estate investing. And again, I think that's one of the mistakes that wholesalers make. It's one of the mistakes that real estate agents make. It's one of the mistakes that people like me, who are business consultants, real estate consultants, contractors, handyman, inspectors, appraisers, all these people, and sometimes even those who lend money to deals. To some extent, you are investing in real estate, but your upside is never going to be like it is when you are doing the actual real estate investing. So I'm looking at a deal right here, and it's a closing disclosure. This closing disclosure is showing $124,000 cash to close to the seller. I'm the seller in this deal, right? So whether I have a hard money lender or private money lender, in which in this case I don't, involved, however, I'm still the real estate investor. Nobody's going to have a bigger payday on any deal than me, unless we're just 50-50 partners on that deal. But even then, that person becomes a real estate investor. So all I'm saying to you is, if you're in real estate investing, if you plan on getting into real estate investing, don't make the mistake of believing or tricking yourself into thinking that I'm in real estate investing just because you go into networking events, just because you know real estate investors, just because you work for a real estate investor, just because you're a bird dog for, get a finder's fee from, or to some extent, you are a private money lender on a deal. But again, even when a real estate investor or a buyer of real estate, if they're just a homestead buyer, even when they're at that side of the table and they're using a institutional bank and the bank has their documents there at the closing table, the bank is not the real estate investor. The bank is the bank. They're the lender on the deal, but the risk of that particular deal is primarily on that real estate investor. So if you're going to be a real estate investor, be a real estate investor. Invest in real estate. And this is one of the reasons why I'm talking about this, because again, I went years just assuming, thinking, believing that, oh yeah, I'm in real estate investing. But I didn't always have the confidence to say that. A lot of times I would say I'm a real estate entrepreneur, I'm a real estate consultant, and I really didn't even hardly say that, because the truth was, if I don't do something and have receipts to show what I do, I'm just not going to talk about it. Of course, there are professors at colleges who talk about stuff and teach stuff that they themselves don't live and don't do, other than just the philosophies and the theories and the hypothetical scenarios that they teach about. I'm just not that person. I don't want to be philosophical and hypothetical and theoretical about things that I should be doing. But when I know I'm in the trenches and I'm in that bag and I'm actually doing it and I'm sitting at the right side of that table, I can talk about it because I know I'm being about it. And I want that for you.